earlier today, I was informed that I have been in close contact with someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. And so as a result, I've been tested myself and I am awaiting for those results. But regardless of whether the results are positive or negative, I will, of course, observe Alberta Health guidelines by staying in self-isolation for 14 days from the close contact, which was on Monday. And that means I'll be in self-isolation working from home until November 23rd. Today, I want to update you on COVID-19 in the province and announce a new series of targeted measures to protect the health system and limit the spread. First, I want to put our current state into context. In the spring, our highest daily new case count at the peak was 351. The highest number of hospitalizations we had in the spring was 88, with 21 people in intensive care. Our current state is twice as high as those numbers, both in terms of new cases and hospital impacts as the numbers continue to grow. It's almost certain that we've not yet seen the peak of the current increase. Yesterday, we identified 860 new cases of COVID-19 in Alberta on over 15,000 tests. There are now 225 COVID-19 positive patients in hospital, 51 of whom are in ICU. There are 16 hospital outbreaks with active cases right now affecting 9 healthcare facilities around the province. The Edmonton zone has already had to postpone about 30% of elective surgeries as a result. Our rising community spread is putting our healthcare system under real stress. It's not just our hospitals that are being impacted. We were deeply grieved in the spring by reports of a continuing care outbreak that caused over 100 cases and 20 or more deaths. Right now, we have more than 50 active continuing care outbreaks, 3 of which have over 100 cases each. Operators and workers are trying their best to contain the spread and continue providing care, but the numbers are very troubling. The total number of active COVID cases in continuing care across the province more than quadrupled from less than 100 on the 1st of October to over 400 at the beginning of this month. The number of exposures at school also rises as spread increases across the broader community. And while the work of students, parents, staff, and teachers has been fantastic to prevent onward spread, there is an ongoing challenge as the numbers rise throughout the broader province. And we are at a dangerous juncture in our province. The first and most geographically targeted of these measures is that starting tomorrow, we're implementing a temporary stop to all group fitness, team sports, and group performance activities in urban centers where spread is rising. This will apply to all such activities in Edmonton and surrounding areas, as well as Calgary and surrounding areas, plus Grand Prairie, Lethbridge, Fort McMurray, and Red Deer. The second measure is more geographically widespread. Beginning tomorrow, all restaurants, bars, lounges, and pubs in areas that are under enhanced status with more than 50 active cases per 100,000 people must stop liquor sales by 10 p.m. and close by 11. I know that operators have worked hard to follow the guidance in place and protect their patrons. I thank them for their dedication and for their commitment to keeping their customers as safe as possible. But extended drinking and socializing in these settings, which primarily occurs very late at night, poses a risk for spreading COVID-19. Thirdly, we are strongly recommending that Albertans living in any area under enhanced measures on our relaunch map not have social gatherings in their homes. Now, as you know, we made that call last week for Calgary and Edmonton, and we are now expanding that to all areas that are under enhanced measures. This must be taken seriously. We are putting our faith in the good judgment of Albertans, which is why these measures are voluntary right now. No one wants to have a government tell us how many people we can have in our homes. But the alternative to voluntary action by Albertans is mandatory restrictions, like in most other places, backed by fines. And if we continue to see large private parties that ignore these recommendations, we may have to consider enforcement action. 40% of the spread of COVID-19 can be traced to transmission at home and at social gatherings. The social gathering limits applicable to the area you live in are the limits that you should follow everywhere. In addition to these limitations, we are implementing several other measures for all regions under enhanced status. And starting tomorrow, there's a 50-person limit on wedding or funeral ceremonies in all of these areas. We recognize the importance of these activities, the lifetime importance of them, and the challenge that this limit presents. But we've also seen a number of large outbreaks linked to weddings and funerals, given the proximity that happens, the intimacy of these events. And we need to take additional measures with community spread rising sharply. These events are inherently emotional, as I say, and they bring people together. It's challenging to limit close contact between attendees at these events.
We must reduce the growth of COVID-19, and we must do it soon. I know that these measures will be challenging for many people. I had the privilege of speaking with many people from some of the sectors that these new measures will impact, and I know this next while will be hard for many. I want to thank those business leaders who will be impacted by these measures, but who are working with us to make sure activities are even safer when reopening happens. I want to reiterate the importance of finding other ways to be active in the next 2 weeks for those whose fitness or creative activities are paused. And at the same time, every one of us must do our part to embrace the measures that the Premier just announced. If you live in an area with enhanced measures, we need you to take action immediately. Please limit your social interactions with friends, extended family, and others outside your household wherever possible. Please do not have anyone who doesn't live with you over to your house for any non-essential visits. To be clear, this does not apply to blended families or shared households. It simply applies to non-essential visits in homes. These visits should not be happening right now. If you can start meeting friends or family members via Skype or Zoom, please start today. Now is the time to reduce the number of cohorts we are in and make changes to our lives to make it less likely that we will be exposed to COVID-19 or pass the virus to others. We are all in this together, and we must face this challenge together.